Hello? Hi, this is the 911 center. You called me. I've got any help now? Yes, hang on. I've got police and ambulance, first responders headed to Emmenberg and Cooley. I need you to tell me what happened. Slow down. Did the car need help? Okay. And so your wife is injured? Yes. Okay. Yes. And there was in a car accident? Yes, a pipe or something came through her windshield. A pipe did. Pipe? Okay.
That was the voice of a man who had just lost his loving wife of 25 years to a tragic motor accident. Or was it? On September 16th, 2016, first responders were called out to a country road in West Salem, Wisconsin, to what was reportedly described as a horror scene. Barbara Kendhammer, aged 50, was lying on the ground unresponsive with multiple injuries to the head, neck, and chest, while Barbara's husband, Todd Kendhammer, leant over her covered in her blood. At first glance to most of the responders, it was a simple open and shut case, a tragic accident, except for one. One responder decided to take photos of Todd for future use. Todd Kendhammer claimed that on their way to view a car, a metal pipe flew from an oncoming truck and went through the car's windshield, impaling his wife in the passenger seat. Surprisingly, the evidence did not support Todd's claim. The coroner's report found multiple injuries to the neck, head, chest, and back. These are inconsistent with this supposed incident. There was also no glass found on Barbara's body. The metal pipe would have done much more damage to the vehicle. And finally, the main cause of death was multiple blunt force head injuries, including lacerations in the back of her head. Todd was brought in for interrogation soon after. He believed it was just a routine procedure. However, he was actually being treated as the prime suspect. This was done to ensure that they could gather as much detail about his movements and version of events while he was calm and open to talk. This is the interrogation and my analysis.
Loss and terrible tragedy. Can't imagine what you're going through. My sympathies to you and your family.
Before we get started, you want any coffee or water or anything like that?
Maybe a little bit of water.
The detective spends the first few minutes of this interrogation familiarizing himself with Todd and the different ways he reacts to certain questions. He wants to identify if he is already on his guard or if he is willing to freely talk to the detective. The detective also spends time gaining trust, reassuring, and building a rapport with Todd. As a result of this process, the detective uncovers a notable finding. Todd confirms that he is currently taking alprazolam. Alprazolam is used to treat anxiety and panic disorders. This is not an irregularity, and it is common for someone who has experienced a traumatic event to be prescribed this drug. However, some side effects of this drug are drowsiness and lack of energy. Therefore, be sure to bear in mind while watching this interrogation that while Todd displays anxious, erratic, and energetic behavior, he is also sedated.
Grab some water, all right?
Are you okay if I take a couple? I didn't take my medicine this morning.
Yeah, that's fine. No
I
problem.
wasn't going to try to take any today, but
What are you taking?
just some appraisal.
Oh,
It just helps a little bit when
sure. If we could just kind of go through that morning again, like, you know, you and Barb got in the car and
we left our house. I don't remember what time it was. Maybe 7:30, 7:45, somewhere in there. And we headed out, went across the Osmus Road up to M, and started going up M, and I wasn't paying attention as to who was coming at me or what. We always just talked, and she always takes a thing of water with me go in the car. And
where were you going?
up over at Holman,
Okay.
by Holman, and I don't know what.
Todd is currently completing 3 mental processes at once. He is trying to remember his previous statements, remember the question, and convey his answer convincingly enough to fool the detectives. This is extremely hard to do, and it explains why Todd is currently struggling to string a sentence together without saying, "I don't know," or pausing for a prolonged period of time. This, as an isolated occurrence, could be put down to a struggling husband recalling a difficult and distressing event. However, it does become a common theme throughout the interrogation.
I don't know what kind of, how it looked like a bird coming at us at first, like one of them swallows or something. And then it come through the windshield. I tried to reach out for it, I guess, I don't know. And
How did you try to reach out for it?
I lunged harder with, I tried to hold on to the, I tried to hold on to the wheel, I think, with my right hand, and lunge harder with my left, but I think I ended up going with both hands, because when I turned on the cooler road, I was over, I don't think I was in my, I think I was more on her side of the seat than my side of the seat. And
An innocent person will usually have open body posture, maintain eye contact, and answer questions in an assertive manner. Todd is currently closing his body off and hiding his face, which could suggest that he is becoming increasingly worried that his story is not lining up with the facts, and is withholding some, if not all, of the truth. The action of hiding his face and eyes could be his way of searching for some relief, and he may think by blocking out the view of the detectives that they will pity him and let him rest.
And I just, I don't, from then, I mean, I think, I don't know for sure, but I think I didn't know that she was hurt at first. And I don't remember, I remember seeing her, realizing what was going on.
When you first realized what was going on, what was it that you were realizing?
That she didn't say nothing at all. Mm-hmm. She didn't say nothing at all. And she thrashed. She was like thrashing a couple, 2 or 3 times, I think. She did it more than that or not.
Okay.
And
where was the pipe when she was doing that?
Sticking through she was trying to get, I think she was trying to get away from the pipe.
Okay.
I think.
Do you recall, was it on the left side, right side?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Right.
I don't, and I was trying to, I don't know how or why I put the car in reverse. But I put the car in reverse, and I got out to stop. I tried to stop, and I put it in reverse somehow. I don't know what happened or how. And I don't remember. I don't know, in the back of the car, I think. And I didn't lift her out. I don't think I lifted her out of the car nice and easy. I think
How'd you get her out of the car?
I think I just yanked her out of the car.
Okay. When you say yank, I don't know what that means to you, or it doesn't, but.
I don't know for sure how I got her out of the car.
Okay.
I don't think I just lifted her nicely, no.
Okay. What do you think that you did?
I don't know. I don't want to say. I don't know.
Okay.
I think
What makes you think that you didn't take her out nicely?
Because I needed to get her. I needed to get her out and help her.
Mm-hmm.
And I was on the bank. I couldn't stand real good. I was up on the bank a little bit. It was all wet and mud, and
yeah.
I got her out of the car, and I tried to get her head facing up the hill. I called her new CPR. I tried to clean her up a little bit quick before I did anything. And
what clean her up a bit? What is
I
it?
just took my shirt,
Okay.
and she was bleeding out of her nose,
Okay.
and her mouth, and her ears. And I didn't think at first to call. I didn't think my phone. I didn't think of anything. I had trouble when I tried to, and I don't know for sure, but I think I had trouble with that pipe trying to get her out of the car, and that's why I ended up just yanking her out of the car and throwing the pipe.
Okay. Did you get her out of the car?
I got her out and I did CPR on her.
Okay. And then you got the pipe, or you had to take the pipe out first and then get the car?
I don't know for sure. I can't say. I think
Once you got out of the car, did you leave her side? You were
No,
CPR.
I never left her side. I started CPR, and then she was bleeding so bad. That's when I called the dispatch.
Mm-hmm.
And I never left the phone. I did CPR until the first responder got there.
Okay.
I never left her side. I just don't. I remember, and I don't know how I did it or what I did it or how, but I remember that, and that's why I was, and I don't think I was in the right state of mind when I did it. I didn't mean to do it, but the pipe was there. And I pulled her out, tried to get her out, and I ended up getting her head partially out, and her head fell down, and I pulled that, I don't know if I threw the pipe or what I did with the pipe, but I ended up yanking that out of the way.
Okay. What do you mean her head fell down?
She when I tried to get her out of the car, the pipe was not in the way, but sitting there.
Okay.
And her head, when I tried to get her out, I was trying to stand on that bank, and I just had so much, I never thought I'd mean, I wanted to get her out to try to do CPR.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I didn't try to get her nice and soft or slow. It was because it was muddy, or because I wasn't in the right state of mind, or.
So you said her head fell.
Her whole body kind of like, when I tried to pull her back over.
She fell out of the bank?
She took more out of the car.
Backtrack a little bit. So we're looking for the description of the truck. And what do you recall about that truck? Do you remember where you were on the road, any proximity to turning off onto Bergen Coulee, what the truck looked like, what you can recall on that?
It was, and when we talk and stuff when we drive, so all I can remember it was like a darker, like a 2000 era, and I don't know if it was a Ford or a Chevy or Dodge. I don't know. It was a darker colored. All I remember is the back had like a flatbed with signs on it. I didn't even look at that. I mean, I don't even know what. I couldn't tell you exactly what. Like I said, I wasn't looking at the truck to see what. I don't know what.
Where was the object, which would have been the pipe, when you first saw it?
right, it looked like it was probably right next.
Todd is currently describing the vehicle that he states was present at the time of Barbara Kendhammer's death. Previously, his voice has been very hysterical. However, during the description of this vehicle, his voice, posture, and manner has changed to a more calming tone. This could suggest that he has previously practiced this description multiple times.
To the truck. I mean, it must be when it right, just because I wasn't looking at the truck when it come at us, or I seen it down the road, and we just kept talking, and I didn't even mean, if I didn't know what it was, I didn't think nothing. I mean, didn't have any clue or what. I mean.
Okay, when you first saw that object, what were you thinking?
Well, how your barn swallows or whatever, them birds are, and you're driving always come right.
See, the reason I'm asking is because sometimes that, if you can remember what you were thinking at the time, that might give you a flash to what the truck looked like. So I'm trying to draw you back to that.
And I mean, it was a darker, like a dark green or a dark charcoal or like that.
Could you recall if there was a large load in the back of it, or anything?
I don't know.
Like that was pulling a trailer, not
It
pulling
wasn't pulling a trailer.
Okay.
And as far as a large load goes, he had something in there because it had to come off the top of it was up higher on where it come off the truck.
This is north. You're heading north to.
Yeah.
Where were you guys going?
Todd's reason for going out in his car and traveling that day was supposedly to view a car owned by a man named Justin Heim. The police had already checked with Heim, and he was not aware that Todd was going to visit.
I went over to talk to a guy I work with. I ordered a windshield for him about a month ago, and my wife has been after me to get it out of my garage. It's sitting in my garage.
Okay.
And we were going to just go on over there quick and...
That's what you do on the side. You do some windshield work.
We do.
Get together.
I pick him up during the day, and then when she would get done work at 2 o'clock, then she would help me set the windshield, and we'd take him back.
Okay.
I've done glass for 26 years, and so we just, as a tinker, little side job, we do it together.
Okay. So you drive up there together. Would you change it right there?
No, I would pick the vehicle up and go home, and I'd get it all ready. Because you have to have 2 people to set the windshield.
Okay.
And then she would have me set the windshield, and then we'd take it back at night.
It's got to be kind of a pain in the...
And go get ice cream or something.
What? How banged up are you? Besides, I mean, you got some cuts there. I assume you got some...
And I had a little bruise on my leg is all I had.
Okay. What was that from?
I'm assuming from the shifting knob. I don't know.
Hands all got cut up?
This, I think, is from the windshield.
Okay. How did that happen? I'm assuming I must have tried to lunge for the pipe, I'm assuming. I don't know what else. I tried to, when I realized what it was, I lunged over and forward. Okay.
And more so with this hand, because I was holding the wheel with this hand. I always drive with one hand usually, but...
And how did they get cut on the windshield?
What's that?
How did your hands get cut on the windshield? How did your hands get... You said on the windshield. I guess the glass was shattered, or...
I lunged forward and over to try and block it or stop.
Todd had previously stated that his right hand was kept on the steering wheel. He is now changing that story once again. This is just another example of the benefits of attempting to keep the suspect as calm as possible to gain a more detailed version of his events to later scrutinize.
I don't know what...
Your fist came in contact
my
with the
fist hit,
windshield?
I hit the windshield.
Okay.
And that's how I had that little bruise here, I think, because I must have laid over, tried to go over, but I'm assuming I didn't know I had the bruise. It wasn't nothing that's,
There was nothing that,
I don't know what, I mean, I'm just guessing that that's what happened with that. It wasn't a big, I don't, it was easy. And I'm assuming that's, I mean, from when I realized, and I didn't know it was a pipe, I didn't know what it was, but honestly, I don't know. I know when I was sitting in the cop car, I know I didn't just press her and take her out nice and soft. I know I didn't do that. Because I was...
what makes you,
I've
what
never...
makes you say that? Why, I mean,
Because I've never, ever, in 28 years, never touched her or grabbed her or raised my voice with her, and I was mad at myself. For some reason, it had to be because I got out of the car. I've never been, and I still think of how I got it. I just can't, I don't know how, but the door was in my way, and the pipe was in my way, and the bank was in the way, and all I could think of was the compression. You need to start compressions right away. And I don't know, my goal was to get her out of the car.
This is the first sign that the detectives have decided to change the objective of the interrogation from gathering information on his version of events to the interrogation of a suspect, and Todd is now aware of the slight shift. A notable point is the movement of his right leg. No doubt you will have noticed it shaking previously. However, just at the mention of Justin Heim, the speed of that shake picks up. This could represent the speed of his heart rate and the rising pressure and fear he is enduring.
Big phone call to her mom and put everything, it's a normal day of work.
Okay.
I talked to Justin.
Okay.
He had never had you do any work for him.
I told you I never did a windshield for him. Did he tell you that he had an Act 250 pickup from somebody in Holman or one of the Hill or Medora Hill or Holman Hill?
Back in May.
Okay.
And then what he told me.
What did he tell you? I don't know.
And then he told me that the guy he had was busy. When you finally called back, you said that you had sold it.
It's sitting in my garage. The windshield's sitting in my garage.
Okay.
I don't have any windshields but the ones that I do. Are you guys insinuating that I did this to my wife?
I'm not insinuating anything at this point. I'm saying that Justin is saying that there wasn't a windshield order. He didn't talk to you. He hadn't seen you in about a month.
And that's what I told you. It's been at least a month. Maybe, I'm just guessing a month, but I'm not changing my story. I'm 100%.
I'm not saying you are.
I'm 100%.
I'm just telling you that anytime that somebody dies, whether it be a traffic accident, there's obviously a lot of questions, and if we just take the first person, one person's word for it when they're under stress,
Yep.
that's why we're here today, is just to kind of clear things up.
Yep.
The interrogation has reached its climax, and it is now time to try and coerce a confession out of the suspect. In order to do this, the detective will begin to perform what is widely known as the read technique. The read technique has been chosen as it is a manipulative process that encourages accused individuals to confess to allegations against them. The detective will begin with the first step, which is to outline the evidence and suggest that Todd is the prime suspect for the first time.
Is, the scratches on your neck kind of indicate that maybe somebody's trying to defend themselves, and which tells us that this wasn't something that anybody planned out. But maybe an argument that any married couple could get into got out of hand. She didn't die, really. She didn't die till she got to the hospital.
We didn't. No, absolutely not. We had.
If there's a way to explain it, now would be the time to do it.
I don't know how.
Something got out of hand.
There's nothing that got out of hand with me. There's nothing that got out of hand with me.
The injuries around her neck are consistent with being choked.
Okay, and I never choked her.
Okay.
I never. I mean, I've got.
Todd, you gotta stop for a second. Take a breath and relax, okay?
I can't.
I know it's tough, but let's try for a second, okay? The injuries on Barbara did not occur by a pipe coming through the windshield. You were driving in the car with Barbara before the pipe came through the windshield off of the truck. She had no injuries at that point, is what you're trying to say, and we're saying that those injuries had to have occurred sometime prior to that pipe coming through there. Because the pipe didn't come off the truck, and I think you know that too.
No, I'm not.
You know that they didn't happen that way, Todd. The injuries aren't consistent. There's no way that those injuries occurred that way. There's injuries to the back of her head, there's injuries to her neck, there's injuries to her nose, there's injuries to her forehead, there's injuries to her jaw. There's all these different injuries that didn't occur. The pipe didn't go bing, 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 bing,
I understand
bing,
that.
all.
I understand
We're
that.
forced to do these kind of injuries. Injuries to the mouth, to the lips, are all consistent. They're all consistent with a struggle that happened at some point.
I did not struggle with her at all. The only struggle I had with her was out when I was trying to get her to CPR her.
And that's not gonna, you taking her out of a car, you placing her down on the sidewalk and performing CPR is not gonna cause any kind of injuries that we're talking about. Those aren't gonna happen. It's not gonna happen that way, Todd. You know that that's not gonna happen. You're trying to explain some of the things away, but the problem is that you can't explain some of those away.
I can't. I don't know what happened. I can't explain them. I mean, there's.
The detectives will now try to introduce the second step, which consists of attempting to take the blame away from the perpetrator and place it on another factor, like the victim or uncontrollable circumstances. He will also try to create a more socially acceptable situation. This process will be completed while still trying to maintain a working rapport.
You ever blacked out?
No. Not that I know of.
Not a big drinker or anything like that?
No, I drink brandy once in a while, but not, I mean, I'm not an alcoholic or...
Something happened before you got in the car.
I'm telling you, I'm looking at you.
Okay, then help me explain these injuries.
I don't know how to explain them.
Give me well, there's the injuries to the nose. There's injuries to the mouth.
What kind of injuries to the nose?
Her nose is broken.
Like sideways, like in, like how?
It's broken, there's no cuts to it.
It couldn't be from a mug? With her mug?
The nose is broken, the lips are bruised, there's a cut across her forehead. There's injuries here, there's injuries to the back of her head.
But...
There's more damage to your car.
There's fractured skull.
Why would it be damage to my car?
Well, if you're trying to explain that her head might have hit the dash or her drink, there's nothing that caused the car to stop suddenly.
Well, I think that would have been when I put it in reverse.
And that's not going to have enough force to do anything.
Right. And the only possible thing that I can think of that when she, I don't know. I don't know. I can't. I'm not a crime scene guy. I'm not a.
You're not a crime scene person. But you were there.
But if I was going to try to do something to my wife, I sure in the hell wouldn't have done it like this. To put somebody through misery and pain like that. There's no way in hell I would have ever. I've got 50 guns sitting in my cabinet. I've got so many things, and we had no fight. There was absolutely zero fight. We had absolutely nothing.
Sometimes in moments of anger, they can turn into rage, and those things just all of a sudden, you know, yeah, you get guns and this there, but
I'm telling you, there was no anger, there was no rage. I'm not an evil and mean.
How'd the pipe go through the windshield?
What do you mean?
How did the pipe get through the windshield? Let's start there.
It came off the truck. I did not put that pipe through that windshield.
I didn't say you did, but I'm saying how did it get through the windshield?
I don't know.
You kind of explained the physics of it. You kind of understood that, right?
Yep.
Okay. That it's just not going to stop and get stuck in the windshield at those velocities.
There is absolutely, with the granddaughter and my kids and my wife.
And I understand that there's something snapped, something went
No,
to you.
no, it didn't. I don't do that.
Happened that I know. And I'm not saying that you had made a practice of anything like this at all. I'm just saying that something snapped.
No.
And something happened.
You can try and get me to snap on that.
What happened? Well, help us explain.
I wish I could.
Explain to me.
I honestly wish I could explain it to you.
For it, you can't. The injuries that were on Barb did not occur from that accident, from a pipe going through your windshield, from you taking her out of the car, or you performing CPR on her. They didn't occur at that time. The injuries to Barb were done prior to that accident.
I know.
They are.
Well, I was with her.
I know.
I was with her, and I would not and will not hurt my wife. I'm gonna.
How do all those different
I don't know how to do it. We have to,
separate planes of her body
we have to,
from what you're explaining to us, it doesn't jive. It's not the mechanism of, it's not the cause of injury, it's not the mechanism of injury. Those injuries were caused elsewhere.
but we're gonna have to try to find something else or figure something out. I don't know what.
What is it that concerns you for not telling us? You know, your recollection of it is pretty vague and not very detailed.
Have you ever been in,
I understand it was traumatic.
and have you ever been, how would I say this? Have you ever, until you've had, and I've been in accidents before, nothing major, but I've been in accidents before, and your mind starts going 500 miles an hour, and when you, until you've been in something like this, where this happens, and I know you guys talk to people every day, and deal with people every day with this, but there's, I mean, if I could remember it scene to scene, second to second, I would explain it to you how it happened. But I don't know exactly what it. I'm telling you the best that I can remember. I'm telling, and you can shake your head at me.
I don't think you're not giving us the whole.
I'm giving you my story. I have absolutely zero reason to hurt my wife. Zero reason at all, and especially like this. What?
We're not saying that you intended for it to turn out this way.
So what would I intend it to do?
Well, something may have happened where the two of you got into, like I said, everybody gets an argument, that you got into some kind of argument, got out of control.
You can ask.
You got out of control, and
You
maybe
can
she
ask.
got after you first even.
I understand, I'm telling you
I ask
that.
everybody, but you were there.
I understand that, but you can ask anybody you want to that has been around with us for our entire lives. And you can ask them if we've ever got into a heated argument or I've ever raised my voice with
We're
her.
not saying that's a normal thing that you would have done. We're just saying that there's something that happened here. It's out of the ordinary. It's out of your character. But it happened, and that's what we're trying to get to, because what we're seeing doesn't happen. It didn't happen that way. So something out of your character happened in the middle of all this, that some of this occurred. Something happened that you know that happened. You know what happened. You know exactly what happened, Todd.
I don't.
And you have to step up and be, think about your kids, your grandkids, all that you're not going to have any clue of what's. You need to step forward, be the man.
These detectives have acted poorly when performing the read technique, as a key part of the process is to take control of the interrogation and lower the suspect's number of denials. Unfortunately, they have failed to do this, resulting in the suspect's self-esteem being too high.
Todd Kendhammer, the West Salem man convicted of murdering his wife Barbara and attempting to cover it up with a freak car accident, is sentenced to life in prison today, but will be eligible for extended supervision in 30 years. News 8's Madeline O'Neill joins us live from the La Crosse County Courthouse with more on today's sentencing.
Martha, in a full courtroom today, Judge Todd Bierke handed down the mandatory life sentence. Throughout the trial, friends and family of both Barbara and Todd showed support for Todd Kendhammer, and many of them either spoke in his favor today or wrote letters speaking highly of his character, trying to convince the judge to allow Kendhammer to apply for parole in the minimum of 20 years. But today, for the first time, we also heard from some of Barbara's family members who don't think Todd should ever get out of prison.
We are family too, with heavy hearts and compassion for all involved.
That being said, Jerry Ann Buchner Wetstein wants justice for her first cousin, Barbara Kendhammer.
I do not stand alone.
Speaking on behalf of 5 other family members across the country, she asked the judge to sentence Todd Kendhammer, who maintains his innocence, to the harshest penalty for killing Barbara.
As we watched the trial unfold, our hearts were broken when we learned there were seats saved for anyone who would sit in support of Barbara. But no one did for the entire 9 days. All the while, the seats in support of her murderer overflowed.
4 spoke in favor of granting Todd Kendhammer leniency, echoing messages of his kind nature. His mother,
a man who loves his family, a man who helps others.
Daughter,
my dad is an amazing, kind, and caring person.
Son-in-law,
he has always been kind, caring,
and also Barbara's brother.
And I would like to ask you to allow Todd to be able to ask for parole after 20 years. I ask of this for myself and my mother.
They describe a man who was caring, was loving, was helpful.
But La Crosse County District Attorney Tim Grinke says Kendhammer's lies about what happened to his wife show his true character, regardless of what family members had to say.
Pardon my language, but to be perfectly frank, they need to get their head out of their ass.
He asked the court to not allow Kendhammer any possibility of release.
He did not show Barbara any mercy. I don't think he deserves any mercy at this point.
I don't believe in mercy in the courtroom.
But Judge Todd Bierke did say there should be some glimmer of hope.
I will set your parole eligibility or review date at March 9th of 2048.
I thank you to my family and friends for the support that they've offered.
It's finally done at this point. Maybe people can start moving forward.
When sentencing, Judge Bierke took into account Kendhammer's non-existent criminal record, the likelihood of him committing a crime in the future, and his character. And while he is eligible for parole in 2048, Bierke doesn't think that Kendhammer will be released unless he admits to killing Barbara. Martha.
Thanks so much, Madeline. Also, Kendhammer will be 77, almost 78 years old when he is eligible for extended supervision. He will be serving his time at Dodge Correctional Institution in Waupun, but he does have the right to appeal that sentence.